We've heard various reactions so far. The January 6 pardons are one of 42 other executive orders President Trump signed immediately after taking office. The newest just today, placing all federal DEI employees on paid leave. This kind of happened late last night. These orders are not automatically law and can be potentially blocked through Congress and the courts. And that's why we're talking executive orders, and that's why we need our legal analyst here, Whitney Traylor, to talk about the basics. First of all, everybody's like EOs, executive orders. What the heck are they? What does that mean?
There's so much going on here. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll try and get into it. But no, an executive order is, the president is the head of the executive branch of government, and so he can issue an order that directs the federal government to act in a certain way. And this is important because he's also the head of these administrative agencies. So the executive order has the force of law, but of course, we don't have a monarchy anymore. We don't have a king. So there's a lot of challenges that can come with that. So for example, if it's unconstitutional, if it exceeds his authority, if it breaches the separation of powers. So there's a number of reasons they can be challenged. And presidents, all the presidents since executive orders have been in place have issued at least one executive order, except I think Harrison, who died a month into his term.
Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on some of these because there have already been dozens, and some of them just seem, symbolic, like we're America, hear me roar, from the Gulf of America to Mount McKinley. Yeah. But some of these could have some long-standing effects on our country. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on some of these? Any ones that surprised you?
There's a number that surprised me. Declaring a national emergency at the border, although I guess I understand that. There was ending the catch and release, designating the criminal cartels as terrorists, of course, ending birthright citizenship, which was immediately challenged, restoring the death penalty. So there was a federal moratorium on the death penalty for federal execution since 2021. He reinstated that and actually encouraged the federal government to ensure that the states have the chemicals that they need to go forward with these executions. So there's so many. That's why I ask how much time we have. But those are some that stood out. And of course, the January 6th pardons, which we just saw, which was completely extreme. And I could not disagree more. I mean, we all saw what happened, whether you're for or against it. I mean, the video shows hundreds of officers were injured. People went to lawsuits and were convicted by Democrats and Republicans. Republican judges oversaw these. Some people pled guilty. And so to give this mass pardon on January 6th is really outrageous, offensive, I think unlawful, but it's in effect.
Didn't seem like a bipartisan issue. Like, right is right and wrong is wrong.
Especially when you're talking about it in a court of law and when you're a jury and a judge. I've been hearing right away, though, so there's all these legal challenges. So it's just a matter of time. Like the ACLU has already filed a challenge. All these people are going to, but then you're going to lower courts. Some of these lower courts, there are judges in place that were, in position by a different administration. Yeah. Perhaps President Biden appointed them. So they might rule in their favor. Then they go, to the Supreme Court? I mean, this could take years.
Right, but I'm going to push back on your premise there, which is, I really want to get away from our judges being partisan.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. They shouldn't be.
Right. And the reason it's become that way, and that's become part of our, everyday vernacular, is because at our confirmation hearings, they've become so partisan. Yep. And I look back to, Judge Antonin Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They were almost unanimous nominations.
You didn't hear that then.
Right. And now it's become such political fodder. And now you have the Supreme Court, in some instances, I think, ruling in a partisan way. So it's a fair point that you make, but as a lawyer, and I read a lot of scholarship that they're really trying to push for nonpartisanship amongst our judges. But you raise the point. This is exactly what will happen. A challenge will go forward. It'll go in the lower courts, and then it will be appealed. And so some of this, definitely the birthright issue, will end up before the Supreme Court. And in that case, that should be a 9-0, that should be a unanimous decision. Birthright is contained in the 14th Amendment. That's one of our core fundamental principles. If you're born on American soil, regardless of your parents' status, you are a citizen. And so that's a constitutional right. So for an executive order to just have one person sign that and to overdo a constitutional amendment, that should be 9-0. It might not be, but I would be surprised if that executive order was
Especially
upheld.
even, yeah, and you're right. Let's get to this point. You're going to be coming back a lot, Whitney.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think about the last term, and I would tell my students, I said, the silver lining of all this, what I would call chaos, is that we're developing our case law. These are issues that we haven't had before. We haven't had a lot of litigation on national birthright. So now we're going to actually develop our law. This is our common law system. So I think that's the silver lining.
There's some good that comes out of it. Thank you.
All right, sure.
We'll be right back.